So now I would like to give the floor to Professor Taras Shmiher, who is also from the Ivan Franko National University in Lviv. And he devoted his speech, Vera Rich. He is writing a book about Vera Rich, which should be published this year. So, Taras, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Today, it's a great pleasure for me to have to present one of my publication projects. It's actually it's not a book about Vera. It's Vera's book, right? Please verify that you see my presentation. I've shared it. Yeah, thanks, Ben. I call it in such a way because it was just in a way an unplanned talk, and I said, just why not to share about something which was to happen, but due to maximum point part, it's still going to happen, and due to some goodwill of some people and God's permission, perhaps it will happen within a couple of next year, months, hopefully not months, only months. I thought about that when we think about the memorization of Vera's heritage, one of the things is, and the main thing is actually, that it had publications. Typically, Vera is known as a translator. That's why I believe her translation will be known. Then her poetry will be known, because typically what people remember and what publishers reprint and publish, these are translations and poems. When you think about critical heritage, it usually avoids the attention of everyone, of critics, of publishers, of the public, because once it's published, then it slowly enters the domain of history, which partially is correct, right? But at the same time, it's necessary that when we try to present a personality, it's necessary to think that personality was never only a person with one talent. It usually is a bunch of talents. And one of the things which was painful for me would be the loss of Vera's translation work. Translation theory not, but maybe translation criticism, Vera's translation criticism, Vera's papers in literature, and her actually Vera's literary scholarship, which is really insightful, which is really deep, and which is really worth remembering and reading. That's why it came to me that idea. He published a book, which I already supposed that it will be quite a small book, because Vera didn't write extensively on matters of translations like university professors do. Sorry? No. But to collect her papers and to preserve and present them as a unity might be an interesting enterprise. I thought about this, it looked interesting for me, and this idea is still interesting. Now it brings new discoveries and surprises. So the title of the book, we decided to call it, I have a very good advisor, a friend of Vera Rich, Bob Newman, and he found, and I asked him, could you find whether Vera wrote any poem about translation? So the title which for the book, and its translation, "The Splendid Power," is actually an excerpt from her poetry. She wrote "The Splendid Power," and I added to the word translation because it was in the poem essay on translation that marveled. This will work. This will work. The sample of the books which I'm going to present follows the book which I did for my late supervisor, Professor Solana Zorichak, about whom you have heard today. And that's why just this book serves as the model for Burism. And I'm going to speak about this model. So I'm going to publish it under the aegis of Shevchenko Scientific Society, which is a very good choice because Vera was a full member of Shevchenko Scientific Society, and today the previous report mentioned about her poetic gift of illusion and mystification and riddling. So she published a poem, and Shah, I forgot because I'm not good at mathematics, but it was 5 in Q, just it was Shah 5Q because it was to mark the 125th anniversary of Shah. So Vera always reflected all these events around her in the poetry. So, and Shah just is a very good option just in place to this book. Simultaneously, I started a series which is called National Memory of Translation Studies, which is also important just because Vera is part of our national memory. And it's very important that Vera, being a translator, always tries to preserve the identity of neglected nations. And hopefully, but it should be issue 6. What about the content? Typically, initially the book was planned as a collection of academic papers, and simultaneously, we might include some reminiscences too. In the end, maybe it's Vera's fate, fortune, or destiny, but I recall that the type of the book might be described with the word which is identical with the collection, not Polish, Shmiher. It won't be epidemic to the extent of 100%. Because, for example, I see just table on and so you have Vera Rich. Everything will be mostly Vera Rich. But this is the introduction, right? And here you have an essay on translation, translation from Bogdanovich to actually 2 versions of her translation. Then her poetry, her poem Grigori Kocher, as well as translation by Lviv, and her poem Roxolana Petrina Zorichak. This is poetry, and because and to start this one, and some people found the Zorichak. Maria Kocher edited a poem about Grigori Kocher. Then Vera finished one of her publications with 2 versions of the knowledge, and I decided Vedic texts, they are described, and I'm still thinking whether it shouldn't be the title of it, it's a bit of poetry or not. That's why it's open question. Then the preface is the technical thing, because I'm to record only some words about Vera, but mainly to publish the typographical, explain the typographical conventions. And then I have a very good preface by Roxolana Zorichak. Actually, it's not a preface, it's an academic article. It's a very serious research. But it was published to mark the 80th anniversary of Vera's birth. And it was done already after Vera's death. And it's a very insightful analysis of Vera's legacy. And that's why it's a very good, such a good presentation what Vera contribute to Ukrainian culture, as it should be in every serious academic edition. Vera's papers, right? And not so many, you might think, just, and that's what I expected. But the largest discovery for me was that Vera was extremely insightful as a literary critic. Back in 1960s, she wrote marvelous texts, and I'm quite surprised whether somebody helped her, somebody guided her where to search. But I mean, when she wrote about Franko and prepared the English poets, it was deeply. You know, I'm surprised that it looks like she, the 20-volume edition was timed and then rewrote times, making some notes. It was she it's really marvelous. Like her other text, I mean, when we speak somehow Out of Darkness Revisited, where she explains her methods of translations, where accuracy and artistry in Portuguese translation of Hamlet, where she discloses such details from the history of English theatre, which we missed, which we easily missed. There are two texts which were never published. Literature Czechoslovakia, she wrote it for, at least I don't know, maybe somebody republished it occasionally, but I didn't trace it. I know I received this text as a manuscript, and she wrote it in September 2009, so 3 months, almost exactly, because the date is September 25th, so it's almost 3 months before her death. And then there is another text on my work on the English translation of Franko's Modus, and that was the text which I received back in 2006. She was to come to the conference, but then she felt ill and she couldn't come. But she sent the text, and the text was read. That's why just we have approximately 10 texts. Yeah, exactly. 10 texts with this. Translators afterwards, they're presented here as they were published chronologically. Translators afterwards, the one who was Modus, it was written in 2006 simultaneous to the edition, but published much later in 2017. So this is the main corpus of Vera's text, which will be useful for translators, for beginning translators, for translator critics, because they're so sincere, they're so helpful. They try to see Vera's secrets of work, and at the same time, they're just really deep textual cases of analysis. When Alan passed, Dr. Alan Flowers passed the book, the last portion of books and materials of the Euro-Ukrainian collection to the library of the University of Lviv, we found one of the manuscripts there. This is the Icelandic ballads of Ivan Franko. And it was started somewhere in 1966, but it looks like that this paper was never written. It was never written, it was never published, because it was promised to be published in some magazines. I forgot which, but because I searched the whole, the whole bunch of neighboring publications, it was just they mainly reviewed the Ukrainian quarterly, and then just when she returns again to the topic Ivan Franko and Icelandic ballad, in 2003, excuses that the topic will be different than as she proposed. So it looks like that, unfortunately, that this paper was written. And I was thinking about publishing even half of it, but then I'm still thinking, but the general opinion is that maybe this paper will be excluded, at least in this edition. Occasionally, I found some materials which can describe Vera. Number one is interview with her, which was published. Perhaps it looks like it might be her last interview for Sonetto Poesia, right? And we found a couple of letters. For sure, there are much more letters, but just these are the letters from the collection of Svetlana Zavichak at the archive of Lviv University. So there are 6 letters, and I believe it's enough to have 6 letters just to have this presentation, just what type of contacts were between them. But for sure, if somebody wants to publish all the letters, all the correspondence between Vera Rich and Alexander Zavichak, it might be extremely interesting for publication. Here you can see this. This is the first letter. It's not the first letter because we know that they contacted much earlier. That the contacts look like appeared just in 1967, but this is the first letter which is chronologically first, which is preserved in the of the University of Lviv. I asked people just to write some memoirs, and people were very open to this. I'm still waiting for one text, but I'm happy that I managed to collect papers by Bob Newland, Jim Bingley. Due to Dr. Allen received a nice memory of Volodymyr, who died a couple of years ago. And Maria Kotter is brand new, she sent me this, yeah. And the problem with memoirs is very typical. It is one which people just don't even think about it, but memoirs must be written on time. Right? 17 years pass with that, so some people will never write their memoirs, unfortunately. Let's say, for example, well, we can say that maybe Argentina will never write, but she wrote the paper, okay, so there are some improvements. But for example, Anusha Kotsikuta, Hillary Shears is still, and then some close people who were very close and could write something, some this is what I was. One of the problematic parts of these books, but I hope that with the cooperation with the Shevchenko Library and Archive London will already finalize this problem, because I have theorized a couple of people about illustrated fictions, and because I would like to publish approximately 20 pages of photos. Pages, it doesn't mean pictures. And here I have just this problem that whatever I receive, I must receive in good quality, right? It must be present different timing, and there must be balance between this timing, because there are too many pictures from the early 21st century, and I question just, hey, what about earlier? This is a very typical problem. Just maybe you remember yourself, you read masterpieces, and then you saw some pictures of all those poets and guys were extremely old, gray hair, maybe bald, but extremely old. And then you see, well, but the masterpieces written by them, when they were written, these were masterpieces of young people, of young characters, of young talents. And that's why just I want to have this representation, just not only era as when I remember, because I remember her era after 2099, right? But Vera was different when she published 1961. Vera was different when she published Moses in 1972. Vera was different when she published those important, when she created important texts was different. And it would be important just to see. For example, just here is a nice picture of just happy young woman, nice flowers. Quality is okay, just the printer will take it. But there's a problem. When? It is decay. It's decay. I suppose I understand that this is London. Somebody sent it to me. I forgot just the explanation. But might be just necessary to specify. Are these 1960s? Are these 1970s? Who remember? Who can help me? Yeah.
This one.
Again, this is a very, I like this picture. It's nice. Vera is extremely young and activism is presented and it's very clear. But again, when, where, what did it collect? Actually, it's good to describe. Because there are a lot of pictures we know, but we don't know the context. Here is picture. This picture cannot be taken right? Because it wall piece. Look inside, you see, and look how majestic she looks here, right? It's not a female translator. First of all, this is a really from British translator, and that's because of. Still, I'm thinking whether I shouldn't try that she's a Dane because she is a Dane of Princess of Order, or maybe it's not Indian part. She's
gone. Coming down.
Right, necessary to describe So that's why, for example, now what I think, what I'm looking for, and hopefully, I'm just to do know the charts we have collected, so I'm going to have to, because there is no picture of Ukrainian pictures, right? So I'm still thinking about some scans of the book covers, maybe to republish collector, because now I'm thinking just, is it worth republishing her will? Because that's Vera's writing, why not? Just, but again, necessarily quality, and then to republish it, what way? You see that there is, whatever you see is not the full will, right? It's only 2/3, right? So there's the third part, right? So, and actually we are interested in the first part and in the third part, right? Looks like it, right? But this middle part is not good for us. Yeah? Now I'm thinking about just maybe to take this. There is a nice picture where flowers, the grave of Vera, and then again, because there are two inscriptions, it can be read, right? So just maybe just to cut it, to fix. So I'm thinking just. I'm still thinking, but maybe to take a picture of Vera's exposition in the Taras Shevchenko Museum in Cairo, just. But I'm thinking about 20 pages, because it shouldn't be a lot. Just there will be other books, there will be more pictures, but this is what I'm just doing right now, and due to the generous help of Dr. Flowers, his wife, Alan Flowers Cameron, the book is to be published, and I do hope it will be published within the next 2 months. Would like it to be published June, July. I do hope. Thank you for your attention and interest. Grateful to the armed forces. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Taras, for all the work you're doing, for preparing this book. It's a great tribute to Vera. And of course we will help as much as we can with the illustration. And don't worry, there will be with captions, with years, and the best quality that we can do. At that time that you're looking for, there wasn't such camera like today, but today we've got Photoshops and some other stuff, so we will help.
I just wanted to add, if I may, he's not there.
He'll come back, he'll connect. Yep, it's good.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, Professor Shmiher, we can definitely help you with the 2 black and white photos on your list. They belong to the Belarusian community history, and one is from 1971, the other is from 1967, but we'll give you the exact details.
Can I just do a quick communication, please? On the comment about the will, Taras, are you hearing me?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Of course I do.
Right. That page you have the copy of is the only substantive part for the first time ever. I heard somebody commenting about where's page 1 and where's page 3. It's just a cover with nothing on it, the page that's not copied. The key, you have all the words that matter on that one document you have the copy of. Okay? I was a bit... We can take this up later,
Yeah.
but I can assure you legally everything is there, you've got that image.
Okay.
No, the problem here, for example, is there is a testament, and the date is, between date and the testament is a huge gap, which is not necessary, okay? We don't have witnesses here, right? Just, we can survive it, but I mean, it's just necessary to think over, so just, but we will think about it. Thank you all for help, which you have already gave to us, to me with the pictures, and which you also do. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.